Welcome back to another episode of Keeping It Orange and Blue. I'm Ryan Evan, joined as always by Kevin Ducey. Kevin, back after a week of vacation for the both of us. So, how you doing? How you feeling, man?
Man, I'm good. I had a great experience out in Arizona. Got to see the fighting Illini on the golf course there. I got to see some of their great round they had on Saturday. A little bit disappointing finish that they lost in the first round of match play, but it's a crapshoot. So that was disappointing. But I would encourage anybody, if you get the opportunity, if you ever to go watch a golf round. Go walk with the team for a couple hours. You get to meet so many cool people. Got to meet a lot of folks that connected with Tommy Cool's family. Got to talk to the AD for a little bit. That was real cool.
We're gonna get him on the show.
Yeah, probably not. Got a chance to talk to Caleb Griffin, the kicker. He's actually roommates with ADDC and Tommy Cool, which is kind of funny. And then other guys like Robert Rosenthal from the Illini board. It's just a lot of fun, and there's things that you can do, especially whenever you go to an away game, like with football or basketball. You can really go meet some people. It's pretty cool. Like we did. We stayed after the Northwestern game and talked to Aaron Henry, talked to a lot of the guys. But when you go to something smaller like golf, it's really easy to get some great connections. Talk to Mike Small for a brief second. It was a lot of fun. How was your trip to Disney, man? Did you get a chance to hang with the family, have a good time?
Oh man! So just briefly, because we got so much to talk about. Got a new sponsor I want to mention, but yeah. But I'll mention briefly because I don't think people care, but you care, and I haven't got a chance to tell you. So, we went to Cocoa Beach for a day, which is always fun. The tides were terrible, which kind of. I basically had to save my son's life a couple times, but it is what it is. They was kick saving a butte, but it worked. The sharks weren't out, I don't think, but the tide was. But then we went to Magic Kingdom for 2 days. If I had known better, because I'm not like a big Disney, I don't know where's great, what's not. I would have went to Hollywood Studios for one of the days.
Yeah.
But I went to Magic because it was for my 3-year-old and for my teenage daughter, and then. Pretty much have a stepdaughter, and she's 16, so they had a good old time, and I enjoyed seeing my son had a blast, and just the fireworks at the end, and a pretty fun time. So I'm happy we had a good old time, got a bunch of sun. But what's funny though, Kevin, I'm not sure where you were at the day it happened, but it's like, hey, I'm worrying about what the kids want to do ride wise, and my phone's blowing up like, hey, Shannon came back, hey. Is Hawkins coming back tonight? And I'm like, I got to get on the ferry to get back to the hook, and like, come on, we got to go. The boat's taking off. And I'm like, I'm texting. People are blowing me up like, what's the deal? Then the next morning, I'm like, okay, I got one more day at Disney, right? You said Ray J's coming. Why? What's wrong with you? I'm just like, hey. And at the end of the day, I can tell you this. It was between Baylor and Illinois. And at the end of the day, Illinois staff, or he had already committed on his visit. And as I mentioned to many people before, when the staff says, and I get this directly from nobody closer to my source, Illinois feels really good. They expect him to come. Tell me, Kevin, why would I report anything different?
Yeah, we got it from people that we believe are in the know. I heard he committed twice.
Yeah, it's not even like we didn't get it from message boards. I'm just letting you know. I didn't get that from a message board. I have a text message that says staff feeling good. They expect him to come. But, anything is possible.
And the other thing about it is if you look at it on the surface, Illinois made the most sense for Ray J. He's an Oswego kid, connections to Tim Anderson. Illinois had, especially when Terrence and Coleman came back, Illinois has a roster that's primed for a point guard to come in and be a key facilitator and really be a key contributor. I mean, Ray J on that team, this team is going to be so experienced, so veteran, tons of pieces around him. He really could have done amazing things there. And then when Adam Flagler decided to stay in the draft,
that was it. That was it.
The keys to the kingdom were given to him at Baylor, but maybe him and Baylor, they might be better than us now. But I don't know what Jalen Bridges is going to do if he stays. He's talking about going pro somewhere.
I'm thinking it just has to do with the fact that
I think it comes back to the same thing. I think why he wanted to go to Utah. I think he wants to be the man. I think he wants to get most shots up on the team. And frankly, that's not that when Terrence Shannon comes back, that's Terrence Shannon's role. Terrence Shannon needs to be the lead the team in field goal attempts. And I think everybody on the roster is completely okay with that. And I think Ray J wants to be the man. And frankly, I don't know how good they're going to be. I think it was a bad move on his part. I think Illinois had more money, was closer, and had a better spot for him. And there's the Tim Anderson connection. I think it comes back down to this. I think, frankly, the kid wanted to be the man, and I don't think he ever wanted to play for Illinois. I think there's probably a little bit of harbor resentment that he committed to Boise State out of high school, and Illinois wasn't very interested in him then. He went to Toledo. He transferred to Toledo. Illinois wasn't interested in him then. He's just like, you know what? I don't want to be at Illinois. And he just didn't have his parents wanted him at Illinois, from what I understand. He didn't have the stones to step up and say, I don't want to play there. And maybe he doesn't like Brad Underwood. But if you don't like Brad Underwood, why do you commit on your visit? Why do you tell the staff after the Utah fiasco where supposedly he's committed and then he's not? But I'm going to go back to Illinois. I just think there was a lot of things that were out there. Like, he didn't want to play for Illinois. And that's okay. Where I have some frustrations is with the staff is that they allowed themselves to be held hostage by a pretty good basketball player. I think Ray J. Dennis is a really good basketball player. This isn't like Hunter Dickinson. Let's say Hunter Dickinson was doing this. You can play those games, right? I mean, that was the best player in the transfer portal, bar none. Couple-time All-American. Whatever you think about the dude, he's a really good basketball player. He's a phenomenal college basketball player. I issue with the staff being held hostage by a guy that was the MAC player of the year. I do, and I think that Brad regrets it. I think
that's the second time they've been held hostage, and it's burnt them. And guess what? As much as, people give Kevin crap about being a home dog and homer, I guarantee you Kevin does not think that they handled it correctly. So
no, and I'm curious as to the roster construction right now. Supposedly there's, we can get into this that
we are going to delve into it, Kev. How about let's get this sponsor. Let's do it. Let's
no, absolutely. We got people paying the bills, dog.
Yeah, we got some people paying a guy that I really like, Scott, who reached out, and there'll be another room for some more sponsorship down the road as this continues to grow. But I'm super proud to announce, and I'm going to be posting the logo and stuff probably on next week's show, but I'm going to give them their own tweet tomorrow for anybody that has any more questions. I have all that. But the sponsor, his name's Scott Davies. He runs Hometown Hype Apparel, okay? We would like to welcome Hometown Hype Apparel as our newest sponsor here on Keeping It Orange and Blue. Here's the biggest reason. So if anybody has any problems, with lifestyle shirts or, your team apparel for a local school or hometown, the best way to do that to me, it's hard to find sometimes, maybe talk to your local school, but you can check that out at hometownhypeapparel.com. Your only subscription-based T-shirt of the month club for your school or hometown. They partner with schools and they donate back for each subscription. So if you visit their site at hometownhypeapparel.com, you get your subscription started today, or reach out to them to see how to add your school. So sometimes your school hasn't been added to it yet, but you can get your school added to it, or your hometown, or whatever, anything you want. That's where to go. Again, that's hometownhypeapparel.com. His name is Scott Davies, and you can reach him at 217-278-0120. So I'm going to say that again. hometownhypeapparel.com, 217-278-0120. So for me, my hometown school, my alumni MacArthur, isn't on that yet because nobody has selected them yet to start making shirts. You can go on there and click on their menu. Okay, I've looked. Kevin, you can take a look at it here soon if you want. But and basically add your school to it, and boom, they'll start making, getting your colors. They'll design it however you want them to. I think it's neat, and because you could be the guy to get the ball rolling for your city, your school, whatever. I think it's neat though, and I think this is definitely a big Central Illinois thing. So the teams that they have on there now are all local. See, there's like some Gibson City stuff, where Aiden Lawfrey was at. There's some other places like that. So
St. Joe, Unity, Armstrong, Potomac, St. Thomas More, Prairie Central, Monticello. That's really cool, man. That is really cool.
Definitely. So check them out at hometownhypeapparel.com. So just a big list of menu. You can go down and see their prices, what different things they're offering. So give that a check out. We appreciate him. So it's an honor, and appreciate you. So with that said,
I'm going to have some St. Joe gear here in a minute. I'm a Urbana guy, but my little brother and sister went to St. Joe, so my family moved out that way. So I'm gonna rock some St. Joe gear on the show one of these days.
Yeah. So there you go. Boom. That's the perfect place. We'll get a hold of them there. Let's briefly talk about the impact. As much as Illinois failed to grab maybe a difference maker for sure, and we'll get to Jeremiah Williams. Let's talk about the big impact of Hawkins and Shannon staying, which I think is a big deal because we know with not coming through with Ray J, I think, 100%. I'm going to work on that here once we get this rolling.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny is that we're so frustrated and so upset that we don't get a guy like Ray J. Dennis, but the biggest news is that we get Terrence Shannon Jr. and Hawkins to come back. It was like a couple of years ago. Like the biggest recruiting win was that Kofi came back to school, right? And that's the biggest recruiting win is that we get these two guys back. And as much as people the point guard is a position in need, is that Terrence Shannon Jr. is a returning All Big Ten player. He's one of two first-team All Big Ten players that's coming back to school at the moment. Along with Zach Edey, there's not a lot of wings that are all conference guys that are coming back, and so that's a huge benefit to this team. And I think that with Coleman Hawkins and what he was told, the feedback he received from the NBA combines, I've been really interested and excited to see what his development is and his maturation. And it just, man, we have a team that is really old and is really experienced and started a boatload of games and played a boatload of minutes at the Division I college level of basketball. And so that is exciting, even though we didn't get a key target in the transfer portal. But there's other guys that are out there.
Yes, there is. So as before I mentioned, get into that, and that's the next topic here. I think that you can't undersell or understate the fact a first-team All-Big Ten guy and Shannon comes back, a guy who's got a chance to be at least a second-team All-American, in my opinion. Yeah, I think Shannon has a chance to be a guy who's going to get his name and jersey hung in the rafters, just like Kofi did. And if anybody's unsure of the criteria for that, it is first or second-team All-American. So, and I think Shannon has a chance to do that, be at least a second-team All-American. So that's a huge deal. And much as we undersell that, I think him going to the combine, and I guarantee you talking to the people, he was going to be a top 40 or 45 selection probably in the draft, which it's not a bad thing to have that guy coming back either. And we have him know what he needs to work on, maybe what he needs to focus more on, probably taking care of the ball when he's driving to the rim is a big one. It's like, yeah, you can get to the rim, but what do you do when you get two guys converge on you, Yeah. So, and then Coleman Hawkins. No matter what happens with the point guard situation, Illinois is going to have more guys that can take care of the ball that are older. I think DGL, Gibbs Lawhorn may have some time with the ball, but he's not going to have to be Sky Clark. He's not going to have to be Jaden Epps, where it's like, here, you handle it, and if you can't, well, then we're screwed. Hawkins, you're going to have to come do it. So the fact that Illinois is going to be adding another veteran guard no matter what, so there's going to be some more help in that situation, and another year where I think you'll see Ty Rogers help out if he needs to, and but from what I'm being told, I'll mention there's guys that can definitely help relieve that situation. So I'm not too worried about it as much as I should be, or could be, is not should be, but could be. But Hawkins, I think, definitely is a guy we're going to see not just playing the 4, not just playing the 5. I think you're going to be seeing him moving around a lot because Quincy Guerrero can play 4 and 5, and I think will be utilized better like he did at Syracuse than he was at Oregon. So,
well, and Gary Ayers, he shot 35% from three. I think we all believe that Coleman Hawkins can shoot 35% from three. Terrence Shannon can shoot 35% from three. DeMoss can shoot 35% from three. Goody can shoot 40% from three. And DeMoss, if used in a different way, can shoot 40% from three, obviously. And I agree with what Scotty said here is a transition offense should be excellent. A lot of guys that can get a defensive rebound, turn and push the ball, and half-court offense without a true point guard is a bit of concern. But the thing that this team is going to have, I saw on one of the message boards, is like, what's their identity? I think the identity of this roster that's coming up for Illinois basketball in 2023-24 is a team that is really mature. It's old. It's really physical. Like, I mean, we've talked about this before about the weights and the sizes of these guys that are on the – like, we got grown-ass men playing these wing positions. I think that'll really help for some rebounding. It'll help for defense. But last and not least, it's just a ton of depth. We're mature, physical, and depth. And if we're going to have that kind of depth, I would look for Underwood and the team to try and push more and possibly put a little bit more pressure on the ball, especially in the half-court defense. We've got a ton of really good defenders. We did get Jeremiah Williams, and if he's able to, the concern there is he ruptured his Achilles in October, and he was a lights-out defender. He locked up Kedrick Davis, who ended up being at Memphis last year when Davis was at SMU. He's one of the nation's leading scorers. I mean, Jeremiah Williams put the clamps on him. He's a little bit like a 6'5" Sincere Harris. He's
nasty. I think he might even be a better, facilitator of like getting to the rim and finding open guys. I think than Sincere is. He's definitely an upgrade to the kind of guy Brad Underwood wants. He wants an everyday dude, and this guy, when he plays, is a dog. I think people were necessarily worried about his shooting, but to me, I think Illinois added more shooting. Like, you can't deny they did. Right. They did. I mean, I tweeted about DeMoss, and somebody's like, he only shot 35%. And I said, yeah, that was like all together, but wide open threes, he shot 50%.
Yeah, he was one of the best catch and shoots in the top, like 99 percentile of catch and shoot threes, which is going to be more of an opportunity he has to here at Illinois because he's not going to be the focal point of the offense. He's not going to be the leading scorer at Illinois. He's going to be able to be a real key contributor and get some good spot up looks. And we got to think, hey, Illinois got old players, but not an old team. Is only one guy with more than 1 year in the lineup. I don't think that really matters. I think that you've got guys like Gary Ayers playing in his third program. DeMoss is, I don't think this is going to matter. I think guys are going to step in and feel their roles. There will be some continuity issues. I think you'll maybe see that early on, but I think it's something that can get worked out. And I do think there were some chemistry issues last year that really plagued the team between Sky Clark and Jaden Epps and Matt Meyer. I mean,
Matt, and that's something we haven't really addressed much, but we can delve into it briefly here. But before we talk, I want to talk about Jeremiah Williams just a little bit longer. But
yeah, for sure.
So I know that Clark and Mayer got into a scuffle.
Yep.
A big scuffle before he actually left.
Yep.
Not sure who was hurt the worst. I don't think Clark had many bumps or bruises on him, but I do know that probably ego was hurt. The fact he probably got talked down to from a dude who won the national title probably didn't help. Even if he did get the better of Mayer, I know Mayer hurt his ankle, which is why people.
Yeah, he hurt his foot, and there was some rumors going around that it might have been season ending, and he was able to tough through it and play.
And we don't know how long that could have lingered him the whole rest of the season too.
I mean, he had some really good games after it, so I don't.
Yeah, but good players can persevere. True. But one thing I want to mention too is how many open threes, guys, did Melendez miss? Did Mayer miss? Did Shannon miss? Did and DeMoss is hitting 50 of those. So if you're giving that dude 6 open threes a game, he's going to hit 3 of them. So, and that's not the contested ones. He still is going to give you a couple of those.
Same with Luke Goody, right?
Yeah, and Goody's fingers crossed we get a healthy Luke Goody. That's another thing I think that people underestimated to a degree is I don't know if he's with a healthy Luke Goody all year gives you 4 or 5 more wins, but I know it gives you Illinois at least 1 or 2 in my opinion.
Yeah.
Where it finished in the Big Ten to where could it got a double bye probably. There was a couple big games there with him not playing, and you saw the difference when he was in the game. I think he still he shoot 38% last year with his and the time he was in he get to play. So I mean, I'm just saying he didn't probably qualify for to be the best shooter on the team, but the little amount he did play, he showed you he was shooting near 40%. So
And Scotty B says no way that garbage goes on in this locker room because of the maturity. I think that's true. I think there's a level of like Terrence Shannon. I think the leaders of the team, without question, are going to be Terrence Shannon and Coleman Hawkins, and I think those guys come together and say, "Hey, listen, this is the way things are going to go." And you got guys like that. You got dogs like Rogers and Harris, and tough dudes like Goody and Damask and Quincy Guerrier. I'm really excited about that. Now the question is, in the half-court offense, I don't know really what we're going to look like for a point guard. And I mean, I would love it if Ty Rodgers could develop into that. But I have huge concerns about his shooting ability, not only from the outside, but more so from the free throw line. And so that's a concern, especially late game situations, is like how we're going to facilitate the offense, how we're going to facilitate down the stretch. And those are problems that reared its head against Illinois a lot last year. I hope Jeremiah Williams can be that guy. I think he averaged close to 10 points a game and close to 5 assists when he was at Temple. Temple plays in a good conference. They play good competition.
And to me, what I not to interrupt to a degree, Kev, because but I watched his clip and film against Houston that year that Houston beat us.
Yes,
he was key and instrumental in I believe they beat him in a game. Yeah, and he had a very good game, and he defensively was shutting them down, and I think he had like 11, 7, and 6 or something, and that was his freshman year, and he helped them upset Houston, who beat us that year in the second round, who was one of Samson's best team,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So is he another thing too is the eligibility issue, Kev. I know not sure if you addressed that to a degree here a second ago, but from what I'm told, there's at least 2 or 3 different factors that they could use to get him in. It's the injury and being closer to home could be a big one to help him get the waiver. And, the mental health one is one that kids now are able to probably use, even if they don't necessarily need it. But I think he could need it because, when you are off for a year and you're hurt and you can't play and you just transferred, even though Illinois, Ames, Iowa, probably not too far away from Chicago, but, Champaign's a lot closer.
Right.
So I think the staff feels confident they're going to get that waiver.
Well, and the fact he didn't play at Iowa State last year, he transferred but didn't play a game. I mean, I think that's a huge part of the opportunity that's going to present itself for him. So we'll see. So
Jeremiah Williams, I like everything about his game, to be honest with you. I don't care he shot 27% from 3.
I do. I mean,
I'm only saying is that was his freshman year and he shot 27%. Like, let's look at where some of the other guys on our team shot last year who've been on playing college basketball for 3 or 4 years. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's not even his bread and butter. Like, I think he could be better. He could probably get up to 33% in a year. You know what I mean? So, I also don't think that that's why they would be bringing him in. But so moving forward, where point guard, I have point guard options on here, but I have it'll say guard options. It could be combo guard options. But from what I've been told, and I've texted you about this a week ago, you're asking me like, what are you hearing next?
Yeah.
And I've mentioned this to a couple people, and there's little chats and little communities and things on social media I pop into. I mention things, and some people can scoff or whatever, and some people believe me. But I don't need to jump on. I can tell you one thing about me is I care enough to be accurate, and I want people to be in the know that I wouldn't just throw a name and just tell you something if I didn't really believe it. So Antonio Reeves from Kentucky. Okay. Yep. Good
former ISU kid.
Yep. Former ISU kid. Damask knows him well. They played against each other for a couple seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And very good shooter. He averaged, and he can handle the ball. He's not a point guard per se, but definitely a combo guard who can handle the ball and would be a guy who could relieve duties, and a veteran presence. Averaged 14 points a game at Kentucky. Has played in high leverage situations. Another Tim Anderson guy who he feels, I'm telling you, it's not necessarily saying I'm not going to lock anything. I'm not saying, but I know Tim Anderson, just like he felt good about Jeremiah Williams this time, even though he's been hurt and had surgery. Tim Anderson's missed on one kid since he's been in Illinois, and that was Ray J. I don't expect that just to be a recurring theme. So as long as Reeves does what he needs to do over the summer, which he has, I think, at least one more class to fulfill. He's got some summer school to do, which he will. Illinois, I truly want people – Illinois he's going to go to Illinois from what I'm being told. That, again, is always fluid. But I know that the staff feels really good about it. So I would say not the where, they feel really good about it, they expect him to come. But it's more of like they know they're in – and he sees what he can do at Illinois and what's available because Ray J didn't come. The uncertainty with Williams, he might even redshirt Jeremiah. So, but Tim Anderson's feeling really good about Reeves.
But is there a spot? Is there a roster?
Yeah. So, wow, I'm glad you said that. So, yes, there will be a roster spot. I can't divulge, and I will not divulge why this person can't come to Illinois. I was literally told that. I can't not mention why he can't, but one of the kids who's a grad transfer, who's a guard, who's not on campus right now, and I'm not saying names. Guys should know who's on campus right now. Okay? Maybe read between the lines. There's okay, Guerrero's not a guard. So
yes, you're good.
There you go. Who is not on campus right now will not be able to get in for whatever reason. I'm not sure the reason, and I can't tell you the reason if I did. But so that's who will be. So basically, a kid that's committed, for some of you people, if I've confused you at all, who isn't on campus right now will not be coming, and Reeves would take his spot. Okay, There you go.
Yeah, and that goes back to Scotty's question, right? Scotty said, will shooting be our downfall again next year? I don't think so. I don't think it should have been last year. I really expected RJ to shoot better, expected Luke to be healthy. So those two factors contribute there. It's going to be a lot about not roster construction, but what's on the floor. So what Illinois and Brad are going to have to be really cognizant of and conscientious of is you have to be careful with putting Sincere Harris, Ty Rodgers, and Dane Danger all on the floor at the same time. If you have a roster, if you have a lineup that has any of like two of the three of them at a time is okay. But if you ever three of them on the floor at the same time, unless it's mop up minutes, that's where you can't shoot.
Yeah. And I can tell you this, Reeves is an upgrade shooting wise to anyone not named DeMosk.
And might even be better. I mean, the dude was a six-man year at Kentucky. I mean, go watch he torches Auburn in the second half last year. Just torches them. He had games where, he had some huge games at Kentucky last year. He averaged 20 a game at ISU. He is built to score, and he's got a really quick release. It's a little bit of a low shot. His 2-point field goal percentage is a little bit to be concerned with, but the dude can. He had a huge game in this season. It was against Vanderbilt in the conference tournament. He dropped not Vanderbilt, Arkansas, the same Arkansas team that beat us. He torched for 37 points, and that's impressive. It only took 4 threes that game. He was 11-11 from the line. Dude can shoot free throws too. That's one of the things that hurt us last year. We didn't shoot free throws very well. Reeves is built to score. The thing is he's not a guard he's not a point guard. He's never had a high assist rate. But he can put the ball in the bucket. And so therefore you could run some things. You could run some things where you could put Reeves in the lineup and you could have a guy like Ty Rodgers actually be the facilitator, which would work as long as you're surrounding him with other shooters. Now the question is, how is Reeves deep? We looked at Reeves last year, and there was huge concerns about his defense at ISU. His defense at Kentucky actually went way up. According to synergy stats and some other things, I haven't looked at his D rating when he was at Kentucky, but it was considerably better. And I do think like he could come into Illinois and be a six man. I don't think there's a problem there with that. I don't think, but because he's still going to come in and play major minutes. Antonio Reeves could put the ball in the bucket. He can shoot the three. It's what the team needs. It'd be a huge add. You cannot walk away from him. The question is, how do you keep everybody happy when you've got 11, 12 dudes that can play and get on the floor? So,
and for anybody, the name, people are talking about names in the chat. You might just be on the money. But, again, I just wanted – you guys are very smart, and if you care about this enough and you're watching and you know the team, you have a good idea who I'm talking about. So, and then Jake says the ideal scenario would be Reeves commits, Williams is healthy from the start. Then you go Williams, Reeves, Shannon, Guerrero, Hawkins. That's a great starting five with a great bench.
It's an amazing bench when you get Ty Rodgers, Sincere Harris, Luke Gooding, Damask, and Dane Danger off the bench. I mean, that's huge. Now, granted, that puts the same three guys on the floor. So I don't know that would actually be the starting lineup because I think that Brad would do some things.
I think you're gonna see Danger starting quite a bit though. So,
and don't forget that there's a wild card out there. Dre Gibbs Longhorn can do like I think he's kind of that guy that just has like
you know who I think he could be this year, Kevin? When you looked at Purdue last year, even though he struggled to a degree, that the white boy point guard,
Braden Smith or Fletcher Lawyer,
not Fletcher Lawyer, the point guard. Yeah, think about this, dude. Lawhorn's twice the athlete he is, and let's be honest, that dude had big games for Purdue, had clutch games. He struggled in the end in March, but he's a freshman, but no one thought anything of him coming into the year like he was going to be, freshman of the week 3 or 4 times, was going to help be the catalyst to be their starting point guard for the best team in the Big Ten. Come on. No one saw that. And he's half the athlete Lawhorn is, and Lawhorn not only can handle the ball, but he can shoot. And he's
got in the gym range. I mean, watch his highlights.
He's exciting, man. I really hope they have a Midnight Madness,
Yeah, that'd be cool. Probably
But yeah, so definitely a wild card. I mean, I wanted to mention too, I was told, there's been talk of Woodbury and Chris Johnson, who I had talked to Kevin privately about, and it looks like Illinois is not in the good spot with those. So Woodbury from Utah Valley, who was Harmon's teammate, and Chris Johnson, the Kansas decommit.
Four-star kid,
who Illinois reached out to, talk to. They got in the mix if you look at Zagoria. But to me, what I'm bringing to you and what Kevin we're trying to give to you, focus on the Illini fans here, is it's not who Illinois is just in the mix with, because they're in the mix with a lot of, but who are they in the lead with? Who is a guy that I feel pinpointing to you if I had to tell you today who I think they will get, and that's Antonio Reeves, which is a big deal. So, Scotty says DGL scares me with all the moving around high schools and decommitting. I think that's a fair point, and I think you can, because you can feel like that because Clark did the same thing. I think while there's people have had issues with maybe DGL's personal life with his parents, family, whatever, I think his dad has a good head on his shoulders and wants his son to succeed. And I know they really want to stick it to Purdue because they're from the West Lafayette area.
Yeah, there's a couple questions in the chat. If everybody comes and we get everybody. Can Reeves can we make it work with Reeves? Yeah, probably we'd have to have a guy like probably have to like Crean a kid, like call it Crean and Tom Crean, kick a kid off the team or let a kid walk. That would be possible, and that would be like you do the math on who you would think that would be. And then there's another guy said, hey, listen, Lawhorn will be like Sky if he makes it all year. Will be lucky. I disagree. I think Lawhorn would be more like Pods than Sky. And I'm not saying that he's going to go transfer somewhere else. He's going to be a first-round draft pick afterwards. I think it's a matter of playing time. I think that Dre's going to want to play and he's going to get an opportunity. And so maybe Williams coming in redshirt is not a bad deal, is that Dre gets a little bit more time running the point. He's supposedly really wowed in practice.
He can come in here. It's all right.
And then and then Scotty, hey, listen, I miss the kids develop. Absolutely. College basketball is a little weird here. Like, we love Terrence Shannon. He's been an Illinois kid for 12 months, That's a tough one, right? Is that, like our longest tenured guy is Coleman Hawkins, and he's the guy everybody loves to shit on for some reason. I happen to be a big Coleman fan. But yeah, we don't really be Oh, Maverick is frustrated.
Yeah, I don't know what he's upset about though.
Maverick Morgan
Doing my show, bud. What's up?
Maverick Morgan
doing my show. It's okay. You're okay. We're gonna got a little bit longer. Got a little bit longer, man. Don't stop crying because he can't come in because I'm doing the show. But
John Edie, so name him Maverick Morgan. No, I'm just teasing.
Yeah, I love Maverick Morgan so much. I named my son that. I just love the name. But now the thing is too with Jeremiah Williams, Illinois has Fletch, which is a big deal. So
yep.
I think that Fletch helped out Sky Clark immensely. Why Sky Clark was not necessarily 100%. He was good and well enough to play and be a contributor and make an impact. I think if you go back and watch that UCLA game, Illinois doesn't beat them without Sky Clark. Sky Clark hit a big three, had a big and one on Tiger Campbell. I think Sky made an impact, and he's now 100% healthy at Louisville. But I think Fletch can help Jeremiah, even if it's not for this year, even if he has to redshirt. I think that by that next season, I think you're going to get a guy that's, as good as he can be and a quality impact type of guy. Yeah.
I'm laughing at Jake's comment because I got the Heat Nuggets game taped. So we're leaving here.
No, don't, dude. Do not talk about how Jimmy Butler went off in the fourth. Stop
it. I don't need to know anything.
Okay, yeah, don't. Yeah, don't say nothing. It's going to be a great series, though. Now, I think it's going to be fun. Again, Nate Reeves is the name to watch. I've been talking about it. I've been talking about it. If you see it anywhere else, that's great. But for all the people out there that want to know who's the next. Yeah.
I think we got are you? That's like Luke Goody Jr. What like that Maverick Luke Goody looking boy.
Yeah, it's the boy. He's the star of the show. He's my son, believe it or not. His mama says it's the milkman's, but I don't believe it. It's mine. He's mine. So anywho, now after anything else you want to talk about hoops wise, because I got a football commit, I think that's coming soon, Kev.
Yeah, we need to hear about that because the Brett put up the radar and we haven't got a lock in yet. So what's on the both side of things?
Yeah. The Brett signal, the Burt signal. The Burt signal. So yeah, Illinois is looking to continue their trend of commits with JUCO talent, which is okay. Yeah, which is okay, Wise. They just had a couple big football commits and offensive linemen. They had Prince Ford. Yeah, Prince Ford, the defensive back.
Yep.
But this route is going to be all George McDonald. So George McDonald, who I think's done a great job as the wide receiver coach. Yeah. But he also, is from California. So he's been, working on kids out there. And one in particular from San Mateo Community College who has offers from not just Illinois, but has one from San Diego State, has one from Oregon State, has some other, has one from UConn, and it looks like Temple. But getting Oregon State, who everybody says is going to be a Pac-12 favorite type this
team on the come, yeah.
Yeah, and they just offered him. So the name to look out for, folks, I believe it's probably this week. Hell, it could be tomorrow. Jaden Dixon-Veal, okay?
Yep.
Wide receiver, San Mateo Community College. Illinois offered him last month, about a month ago. He's been, real close with George McDonald, and that's the name to watch for. And not just that, but, man, the next week or two we're going to have some big weekends ahead, and we'll be talking mainly a lot about that because as we'll still be mentioning Reeves and things like that as June goes on, because he has some classes he has to finish, at least one. So when will he commit? And that saga may continue into June for a little bit. Also, he hasn't officially hit the portal yet, Kevin, but
right.
It's coming. It's coming, people. So Jaden Dixon-Veals and Kevin, just briefly as we talk, we can answer a couple more questions as we end this, but does the 24 football recruiting class worry you that it's like near the bottom right now? Because it doesn't bother me at all. Because I know what's coming.
No, I think you stack a 5-7 season, which is not good, but it's better for Illinois historically in the past decade plus, and then an 8-5 season. And then I've told people I think that this team is going to push towards double-digit wins. The product on the field will make Illinois a lot sexier. I also believe that one of the things that maybe holds us back from a level of sexiness is our offense, and I think that Barry Lundy Jr. is going to open up the playbook a little bit this year and make us a little bit more sexy. So I think that as the season progresses, time will go on. But I also think that the staff's willingness to jump into the JUCO side of things, and we've built a really strong foundation within the Smith Center, within the program, within the family, that we didn't see a lot of guys go, so we didn't have to come get a lot of guys. We're going to see a lot of guys go out in 2023 just from seniors graduating.
And going pro and playing in the league.
Yeah, Seth Coleman. There's going to be an opportunity there for us to maybe dive into the portal. And when you're putting guys into the NFL, when you're having high level draft picks, Johnny Newton, which with Devin Witherspoon and those guys, and I think that those guys I think the guys who got drafted are going to show well in the league, and I think that it's going to bring some more credence to the program that Illinois will be able to jump into the transfer portal and fill some key needs going forward. So
100%. And, as much as people are like, the Vernon Woodward that they had been.
Yeah, it could have went to Wisconsin.
Yeah. But you got to remember, look at who Illinois is continuing to add in their defense. I'm going to be honest. If I was other kids and I saw who Illinois had already got, I wouldn't come to Illinois. I'm just being honest. Unless I was a hometown Central Illinois kid, when I see their class for this year of 2024 and them adding Demetrius Hill, come on now.
Right.
Tell me where that says you got the room for me. No, you're going to have to work your tail off when you got freshmen All-Americans. Think about that. You still got, Scott, and you got Tyler Strain.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of
Matthew Bailey.
The defensive backfield is crowded. So that I love the fact that I wanted that kid because he'll knock the dog piss out of you, and Wisconsin got a good one there. But his opportunity to play is probably a little bit sooner at Wisconsin than when will we ever see.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have, but that happens when you're putting 3 guys in the top, 4 rounds of the of the NFL draft. So.
Okay.
That happens when success happens, and I'm expecting another big year. Let's take 1 or 2 more questions if we have anything. Yep, Scotty B, I can tell you this. Illinois is going to have some big weekends in June. I'm expecting big things. I'm expecting Carlos Orr, by the way. Awesome.
Tennessee.
Yep. Tom Brady Jr., San Mateo. No. Unless he's a good quarterback, maybe, but this is a 6-foot wideout. So anyway, if you guys have any questions before we end this, we're doing our final thoughts, Kevin, and if I see any more questions on here, we can answer them. But after this week, you saw what you saw at the golf. You talked to all those cool people, Kevin. What is your final thought for the week? And after Hawkins, Shannon, Ray J, Jeremiah Williams, how can you put that in one little ball and just bring it in?
We got to win in March from the basketball side of things. Like it really just comes down to that. And I'm with the folks there. And I know people think I'm the ultimate homer. I think Brad Underwood has as much work cut out in front of him as he's had after his first 2 years at Illinois with what he's going to do and how he's going to keep people happy and work this roster and find a way into it. I do believe there's a nice collection of talent. How you get that talent to mesh and be productive and win a couple games in March is going to be huge for this team. But the difference is, and Scotty B talked about it, and some other guys here, is that there's a maturation, there's a physicality that this team is going to have. But I also understand this is like we've recruited guys that we crapped on, and they were pretty good players, and we've recruited guys that we were really excited about, and they weren't all that good. So just be a little bit patient and not like condemn the season. Let's see how it's going to let it play out. Let's see what's going to happen on the floor. And then, and like I said, we can put the basketball talk to bed for a little bit, probably in the next couple of weeks, and we can really start focusing on football, which I think everybody's got a little bit more excitement of football coming off an 8-5 season. But we'll see. People trashed Georgie Bishanishvili when he committed to Illinois. Like, who is this dude? He's a nobody. Well, dude's getting paid to play basketball now, and he's a pretty damn good player for Illinois. And people, same with Alan Griffin, like, who the heck is this guy? And he was pretty good. And then people got super, super excited about Sky Clark, and that didn't work out. So you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen when guys get second chances or they come to a school that they really want to play at, like Illinois. I think that's the case with the DeMosque, maybe, and some others possibly. But I'm excited about the future of the program. This, going back to the first introduction of the question, is that Josh Whitman bleeds orange and blue, and he is going to do whatever it takes to make sure that our major revenue teams are relevant. And if that means making tough decisions a year from now, if we're not where we need to be, I think he'll probably do it. I don't want to see that, but I have confidence that Josh Whitman will lead our sports programs in an effective manner. So
100%. Josh Whitman will always do the right thing for the program. He always has. And the fact all you need to do is look at what he did to John Gross. Okay.
Yep.
He loved John Gross. Yep. Like, if you privately ask Whitman,
I heard Lovie Smith too. He made the change there.
Yeah. Yeah. John Gross was like, you could see those guys were like brothers. They were close. And I know it hurt him to let him go, but he just knew it was time, man. You can't miss 4 straight years of tournaments. Doesn't matter why you did. You just did. You got to get it done. You're getting paid $1.5 million to be the coach at the time. That's what he was getting paid, which is nothing now, which is funny. But Brad Underwood winning Big Ten titles spells more money. So it is what it is. So my final thought is we appreciate you guys. So here's my final thought. We appreciate all the followers, subscribers on YouTube, on Twitter, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. We're sponsorship now. Check out hometownhypeapparel.com, 217-278-0120. Keeping it orange and blue keeps getting bigger and bigger every week. We appreciate you guys. It's a blast. Kev's going out to these things, and, follow Kev, okay, at Illini Deuce. He had some great golf coverage. And the fact that you got to talk to Whitman was neat. By the way, can you share a little bit of that, what you talked to Josh about just briefly? Was it?
Yeah, one of the things that was funny, I just listened to a podcast, and it was by a Malcolm Gladwell podcast, and he had a guest on, and the guest said that he thinks the meaning of life is to give praise. And I just told Josh I was really proud of where he was taking the program and happy that he was out there. I'm not the guy that's going to hold somebody down and like really jump into some things. He was just really cordial, really nice. Just told him I was really happy, and that, hey, listen, we have to understand this is what it is that college sports are entertainment. And it's my number one source of entertainment in my life. Obviously it's God, family, kids, work, like all the whole things there, but my entertainment is Illinois sports. And I told him that I've just been really happy that, football is on the track now where we're still relevant. People there was times where the Big Ten Network didn't talk about us. And then basketball has been relevant for 4 years. We're the winningest program in the conference over the past 4 years. And I'm just very pleased with that. And then, dude, I really don't care about women's basketball as a whole, to be honest with you, but I care when Illinois is good. I really don't care about women's volleyball as a whole, but I care when Illinois is good. I don't care about tennis as a whole, but I care when Illinois is good. If Illinois is good in any sport, I'm going to follow it. And we're making strides in almost all the programs across the board. We got to get softball and baseball, they got to fix
back up. Got to get it. And I think Tyra Perry's the right lady for the job. She's been consistent.
Yep.
I think they had a down year where the expectation was really high.
Yeah.
But when you still are above 500, it's still like, oh wow, that was a bad year for her.
Yeah.
So that's my final thought is we appreciate you guys and the football program's doing this. I think basketball is kind of doing this, but I think it's going to go back. And the golf is just soaring. Everything's good. Women's basketball is soaring. I expect them to be. I think they're going to be a top 4 team in the Big Ten this year.
Yes.
I think they're going to stayed in the top 25 majority of the season. So things are looking great. So, again, we appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And we'll have another big episode for you guys next week. Again, so this is Swami out.
ILL.
I and I.